Hi guys, ICES here. So today I'm here with another standard deck profile. At this time I'll be covering our Gravidia deck profile. So it is a deck that I didn't thought that I will like go into it with the mask, given that the mask is unfortunately kind of disappointing in a way that I think if you change the wording to something like allowing to actually place orders back to the order zone, that will help a lot, but it didn't happen. But we still need to like go over it, right? Because it gets updated, and uh, compared to how we play previously with our basic stuff, now we are in a different way of playing the deck actually. And it after I actually tried it out, it isn't that bad, but the game speed is actually way faster in a way, and I'm kind of feeling we are going backwards when Nordlinger comes out like very early time, which I think is also a good thing, depending on how you look. So this build is more focusing on Nordlinger Masques because we have the new cards, we want to try it out, and that's my focus. Because if you are aiming to use this most of the time, then you probably won't be even bordering using the mask, because you need to put the mask order. That will kind of contradicting with your strategy to play a lot of meteor cards, because they are both order cards and you can only play one order card per turn. So if you play the mask, means you can't place any meteor from your hand, right? You have a lot of tools to pick them back up, but still, it's not the same thing. And if you focus on this more, this is kind of stronger because you have a built-in crit with it, and then you multiply your trigger effects, right? So the most usual way we go for is we swing, we hit a crit, we hit an OT, or done. Or we swing with 2 damage and then we open an OT, get to 4, get to 8, we win, right? That's the easiest way that you can win a game with this card. Or when you go in, trigger effects double, open a crit, crit, open a crit, 6 damage, done, right? So if you are still aiming for like this kind of strategy, then probably you won't be bored again. But if you actually want to try out this Nordlinger Mask and want to make it to work, I think this will be the way to go. You do have a lot of ways, but I think this one fits me more and kind of easier to get things to happen. So let's go over the deck. Now, right line, I'm using the full Nordlinger Gravidia right line. So grade 0 doesn't matter. Grade 1 allows you to search for 7. To me, if you can see one of the grade 1 meteorites order card, make sure you keep it in your hand. As long as you have one of the grade 1, you have fulfilled the purpose that before you go into search, because your search 7 mainly is to find the grade 1, and you aim to put the grade 1 meteorites onto your order zone when you're grade 1, not grade 2, grade 1, because you need that soul charge for your grade 2 to soul blast free in order to draw a card. If you don't pull any of the grade 1s, then when you go into your grade 2, you won't be getting anything, that's for sure. That's the kind of a weak point when you're using this right line, but I still think this is a better way because it gives you a chance to actually draw one. Also, when you're playing the Meteorite order card, you get the soul charge, so you might actually soul charge a mask into your soul, and then you just soul blast free to draw one. Then you don't need to care about the mask anymore. You just need to leave it in the drop zone, and when you get Nordlinger Masques, you just go on top. You're ready to go. So to me, finding the grade 1 meteorites during your grade 1 is very important. So I'm still using the grade 1 right line, and when you get the soul charge, you get to draw a card. That's all you need. And also with this card, it also get a built-in Radar Circle skill, which most of the time, like 99% of the time, you don't care. But if you are facing decks like Prison, that they are going to take cards away from you, especially when they're using the Grade 4, make sure you just kick this card into the Prison so that you can bring it back, and you probably have a lot of souls by then you just do your soul blast and draw one, and as long as you have a lot of meteorites, if you have 5 or more, you get the plus 5k, so it can be a good counter against Prison. Today I've actually been playing against Prison decks, and this deck actually did pretty well. It's kind of like a friendship combo while they keep preparing the attackers that I need in the Prison, while I still have a lot of different costs to spare, and then I just bring all the things back and just win the game. So other than that, you probably won't be able to bring this out anytime, but the draw one, I think, to me is great because it can change into a lot of things, or it can help you draw into cards that you actually need for your combos. And then when we go to grade 3, it depends if you're going first or second. If you are going first and you actually have a lot of meteorites to spare, then you probably go for the drop total 5 plus 15k plus crit, and double trigger effects, and scare your opponents for 1 turn before you go into the mask. But with me, my chances of actually doing it is very low. I always go into second, so I am under the pressure that when I actually go into this, I go into the mask immediately instead of actually using the skill. So to me, it doesn't matter, but it's a good to have. But 5 sometimes in this deck is a bit too much to deal with. But you still need this because you need to drag out the grade 1 meteorites to soul charge and draw 1. So far, if you are going well with your stuff, then you probably will just keep soul charging and do stuff, right? And then in your opening hand, hopefully you can also get a Nordlinger Mask in your hand as well, so you can just wait to soul charge the mask and soul blast it out whenever you can. So that's basically the right line. Okay, let's go over the main deck. Now I do have an other Nordlinger here that gives me 2 things. One, another resources when I activate my Nordlinger Mask, because you need to actually bind this card, not the mask, because it has to be a different thing compared to the mask unit. So the more you have, you better. But I don't have a lot of space, to be honest. I actually want to play another one, like a total of 3, but I don't get to. So I'm running at 2. But maybe later when I actually get to find more things to cut, then maybe I can actually slot in another one. Also, another thing you can do with this spare card is to you ride again after you go into your mask, and then pull out all the meteor cards, because you can 2 pull out, right? Probably that will be the remaining stuff that you have into your order zone, and then you go back to your mask again. So really depends if that can happen, but I think it's a very good thing to have. Or even when you don't see your mask unit at all, you get this, you bring it out, bring 2 meteorites out, try to get 5 again and do the normal play. That still works. So you actually need more than 1 copy, so I'm running 2 at least. And then going into our Nordlinger Mask, so I'm running at 3. It is our actual main Vanguard, and as long as you are on like pushing opponents to 3 damage, then you are on the right way to go. Because whenever you doubling your trigger effects, you only need a crit to finish them off, right? Because a crit will turn a unit into 3 crit, basically. So as long as your opponent is on 3 damage and you are doubling your effects, you pull a crit, put on a unit 2 times, that is a fatal kill. And then you pull another one, that will be another one. So that's how I plan with this deck. Push my opponent to 3 damage early game, and then go for it. And also let's talk about the muscular skill. So I did talk about removing this, and what you actually did from there is you choose up to 3 meteorites cards from your drop and put them into your hand. Unfortunately, it's put into your hand, not onto the order zone, so you don't get to enjoy the Great One meteorites that put on the order zone to buy Vanguard effects to draw one as well. So you don't get to do that, and you don't get to recharge your meteorites easier, and that's why that turns the deck kind of weak, because you pick 3 up, but you can only put 1 back. But of course, we do have other cards to put those orders from hand to the order zone to kind of compensate that. But if those cards don't come, then you will be in trouble, right? So that is something that I feel a little bit sad with this card, but we need to work with what we have. So picking up 3 isn't bad at all, but then you probably will need to put a lot of great ones onto your order zone in order to do that. So just depending on the situation, most time I'm only picking like 1 to 2 copy just to help me out during the process when I'm like getting some meteorized cards and I'm trying to get more to get prepared at least for the next turn. But yeah, that's basically it. And when this unit attacks the Vanguard, you can count up +1 and put any number of meteorized cards from your order zone to drop. For each 2 you put to the drop by this cost, you can choose up to 1 unit card from your hand called the Regard Circle. If 4 or more meteorite cards were put into the drop zone for this cost, your trigger effect will be double. So the grade 2 one will just bring you out a unit for free, and then another one means you just bring a total of 2 units. So unless you have like more than like 6, you probably won't be doing that much, and you will usually be dropping 4. If you're dropping the grade 2, then it will be 2 of those, then you can get 2 units out and swing. But that also means that you always need to personalize on this card to like maximize the effect, because you are calling units out before you do your triggering. So you get the benefits from triggering, of course, but at the same time, if your hand size is really low, then you might actually end up calling triggers to your front row to be those 4 and 5 attackers. So that is why, again, the deck is kind of bad, because if the place 3 meteorites actually can turn into draw, that will make the deck a lot easier to function by placing some good quality units. So when playing this deck, you always need to look into your hand and look into what you can call to help you out, because sometimes if you call something too early, that means you can't do good stuff when you're actually dropping your meteorites and call more attackers to attack, because if those attackers won't even hit, then that's bad, right? Of course, when playing this deck, we are hoping for the trigger luck, but it might not happen sometimes, so we just need to get prepared for it. Alright, and this, of course, we are running Gravidia Baku Burrito. So this is basically the saver of the deck, because when placed on the Regard Circle, so +1, where you can get a meteor card from your drop zone and put it into your order zone. And during your turn, if your opponent's Regard is retired this turn, you will get +5. 3 or more, you will get 1 crit. So what this unit is not helping out in this deck is when you use your Nordlinger Masques, because you will only be dropping your meteor cards when your Vanguard attacks, and it will be your third attack. So if you are actually calling this out early, then that means you won't be gaining any benefit from your crit or even the 5k, because you are attacking without putting any meteor cards from your order zone to your drop zone yet. So to fully utilize this card, you will have to be calling out them when your Vanguard attacks, drop 4 meteorites, bring these 2 out, right? That's the only thing that you can fully utilize it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be calling this card to your field early at all, because you still need to get those meteorites in enough amount onto your auto zone. So sometimes you actually need to play this early to get there, and that's why we are running 4 off. It's so important. So yeah, make sure you get 4 off. Personally, I only have 2 copies, so I'm actually borrowing 2 copies from a friend. Yeah. And also, what important is this card actually Soul Blast. So we soul charge a lot of cards, and some of the cards might actually be the mask. And again, we are trying not to play the mask order. We try to put it into the drop zone. So whenever you get into the soul, you have to use your right line to soul blast it, or you will need to use this card to soul blast it so that you can go into the Nordlinger Masques. That's probably, like, even though it's the most random way, but it's the most efficient way while saving you counter blast. Because if you are using like the Dragon Tree Reg to actually find the mask, well, it guarantees you to get that, but the thing is you need to make space for that card, and you probably will be only using it once, and you won't be only putting 1 copy, so in a very tight spots, very tight space, you won't be using a lot, but that also losing the purpose. So I'm turning the mindset from guarantee getting a mask into my hand. Now I am trying to act like a Dracul way of playing the deck, that I keep soul charging cards, and hopefully I can get the mask, and then just put it in the drop zone and forget about it. That's the way. At least that's what I think. And then I'm running Gravidia Gore Gravidia. So this is a card that I didn't realize it exists until I am trying to build this deck, and it's kind of random, but then it also kind of fit the theme of how I play the deck. So the skill of this card is, when this card is put into your soul from deck, if you have a Vanguard with Nordlinger in its card name, you may call this card to your back row. Now, calling to back row is okay because you can just move it out. But unfortunately, if it is during your battle phase, then it can't be your extra attacker, unfortunately. But what it can do is, when you go into this, you'll put 2 of the great ones, meteorites if you can, then you will soul charge 2, right? And if you soul charge any of these, they will be your free attackers. And then when you go into personal right with your Nordlinger Masques, they can just do 20k and as a early attack, that will be good enough. Even though I did say during the battle phase, when you soul charge this card, you can only call it back row and can't go back to the front. It's kind of a waste, but that also prepare for your next turn. So I don't see a bad point of this card, except being cannot be an extra attacker. But to me, that's good enough, right? We're trying to limit what we can play and trying to turn the soul values into something else, and this is a very good example to actually make that to happen. That's why I like this card so much, and like I actually did make that happen one game, so I'm happy that it come out good. So I do suggest, if you are using a soul charging way of playing this deck, then this would definitely be something that you should slot into your deck. And it's a common, so it's pretty easy to get. And then 1 Combine Rusher, because we do use a lot of counter blast, so I can't actually put a lot of him into the deck. Some people use him into the grade 2 slot of your right decks to guarantee him go to the drop zone, but then I value the Soul Blast Redraw one a lot more. But I still kind of want things to happen, because you do soul charge a lot, and whenever you soul charge this card, you can soul blast with your bravery to actually do something, and you do have other soul blasting cards as long as you go into Nordlinger Masques. So yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen. Yeah, and whenever it is in the drop zone and you place more set orders, it will come back with a counter blast, and it could give you another extra 10k as long as you fulfill the requirement, which is when you have 2 or more set orders. So he can just be a good attacker before you start dropping your meteorites. And then 4 of the Bizarre Visitor. So this is also a new card from DVD 12, and it fits again the deck idea. So the skill is when this unit attacks a boost, if your Vanguard is Gore Gravidia Nordlinger Masques, choose up to 2 meteorite cards from your hand, put them into the order zone. If you put 1 or more cards, you get plus 5k. If you put 2 cards, so Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. So you will be Soul Charging a lot, and this is a way for you to Soul Blast 2 and draw a card. And this is why the Vanguard skill to pick up 3 is actually helping you out, because you are trying to put at least 1, hopefully 2, and once you put 2, then you can Soul Blast the cards that you want them to be in the drop zone. It can be the Combat Rusher, it could be the Mask, so that you can reuse it. It could be any extra meteorites that you're actually soul charging there, so you can pick them up again. Yeah, so this card actually turns into very handy, and as long as you put 1, it's a at least 30k attacker with personalized 23k. That's, to me, is good enough, even against defensive trigger. And then 2 normal PGs and 1 of the Blitz Order. The Blitz Order is trying to dodge any kind of hand restrictions, and then 2 more just for a simple surviving. So one of the strategies that I'm going with this deck is, of course, I'm going very, very fast with everything I play, and I am aiming to basically no guard for a whole turn, and then use these 3 PGs to survive another turn. That's basically again because I don't have any kind of extra shields, and these are all my attackers, so I probably won't be using any of these to attack, given that you need to call 2 from hand. So I need to rely on triggers, I need to rely on PGs, but in this format we are facing units with very, very high attack numbers. Like Bastion, they can simply hit you for 40 plus or even 50, and it comes with a dry track. So I'm not expecting myself to like play a long game and just squeeze in here and there. Hopefully I can deck them up. No, that's not the plan. You are going in, hit them once, take a hit once, hit them once, take a hit once, hit them once. If you use 3 turns and you can't finish them off, you just lose. There's nothing you can do, right? And you hopefully can just win in a turn or 2 during your grade 3 turns. That's the most ideal situation. So when playing with this deck, you are not trying to play defensive, you are in a full aggro, and that is why I'm using so many cards to boost my efficiency, to just keep soul charging cards and find the pieces from there, because you don't have the luxury to wait. Seriously, you don't have the luxury to wait. If you are trying to wait for pieces, you better be playing another deck probably. Can be Office Mask that you keep drawing cards and stay alive. It could be Prison that you're being annoying and trying to draw a lot of cards to survive. But not this. You are going all out every single turn. And again, my aim is to put my opponents to 3 damage early game. So when I go into my grade 3 turns, every single thing I do is fatal. Right? As long as I double my trigger effects, what I need is just a crit. 1 crit, finish them off. That's all I do. And that can also reflect on the PG selections. I was using 4, but this is when I'm using 2 of these, and I really see I'm lacking this, so I even have to cut my PGs to make my efficiency play. So yeah, you can see how tough it can get into. And then free mask, just to increase our chances to get them to our hand for right cost discard, soul charging in so we can soul blast it out. That's basically it. 99% I'm not playing this as the order for the turn unless I don't have any meteorites. Yeah, basically just that. And then for the meteorites, I'm running 4 of the grade 2 and 5 of the grade 1s. It's kind of short, but then that's basically everything I have without the triggers, and you can see the deck is very tight. Because if you are also considering using the grade 2 Dragon Tree Rash, then you probably will be placing this, but you can see how non-efficient it is because you need to play a lot of orders before you attack to get enough so that you can pick them back, right? And in order to pick them back, you need to soul blast a lot, and you need to soul blast a lot, then that means you need to soul charge a lot. So that also brings back to how we recklessly soul charging with our meteorites and turn into value, so that I don't see the Dragon Tree Rash being worth in the deck. It can be worth in other decks, but not in this one. At least that's what I think. So yeah, I really wish to increase this, but then I see this needs to be at 4 so that I can use the less meteorites to get into what I need to do. Usually with the mask I need to get 4, right? So 2 of these, only 1 and 2, then I turn them into something else and keep rotating them. So far this ratio working me good, but if you ask me my most ideal ratio, it will be at 4 and 6. It will be that. But so far I really can't find a good spot to cut, because if I am to cut, I probably will be cutting more PGs seriously, and the other parts are actually very important in this deck. So I will keep this ratio for now and see how it goes. And immediately we can get into triggers. Renegade OT, that's your ultimate win con that you double and double, just win easy, especially when you're on your normal Nordlinger. You just gain 1 crit, double to 4, double to 8, win. That's all you do. Soaring crit, if you don't have the soaring crit, it doesn't matter. I will just use it for guarding. I do soul charge a lot. I do soul charge enough, because even if you soul charge this card in, you won't be doing a lot of things usually, unless you are running out of souls, which to me 99% won't be happening. So it's just a backup. But if you prefer normal crit because of the 5k attack or as a boost, I think also go for it. But it's just a backup plan that if I don't have the soul, then at least I have something to do for it, right? If not, just use it for guarding, just use it for your right deck, whatever you want. Nothing too fancy right there. 4 more crits, because again we are going ultimate aggro, so 8 crit is a must. And also that I keep saying, 1 crit is what you need to win when your trigger effects going double, when your opponent's damage is free. So usually max out your crit. And then 3 draws and 4 heals. I don't have the 10k effect draws, so if you do have those, feel free to slot them in. It will come in handy. It will save you sometimes with a little bit small math. But yeah, if you don't have it, just normal one, that's fine. Because again, my aim is to, I have the luxury to no guard for 1 turn, use all my PGs for 1 turn, and then these are something that help squeeze in for like an extra attack or 2. That's all I need. right? So you need to be very careful on your damage taking. This can come in handy to help you survive early game, so you have the luxury to no block for a whole turn, keep all your pieces, and just go in for another aggressive play. Yeah, so that's basically it. Very, I would say, straightforward and simple deck that, as long as you can personally just go into it and just keep bashing and win. At least do 2 to 3 attacks per turn. Nothing too much you need to care about, and even if you just have these into your hand, play them. Because once they are in your hand, they don't have any effects anymore, but that doesn't mean they can be a good aggressive pusher. So yeah, I think that will hopefully explain everything I need to tell in this deck. It's taking a bit too long, but I think it is needed to actually talk about the card effects to make sure you know how this deck actually runs. The concept of soul charging a lot to find your pieces. Also to the mindset of taking hits and like keeping the cards in your hand so you can do aggressive play. Yeah, but if you have any more questions, feel free to comment in the comment section below. Let me know if your question there. I will help you with those. If you have a different ratio, feel free to let me know as well. Hopefully I will keep it as is until I find a better formula, but so far I think this is a good one for people who are looking into making a Nordlinger Masques deck. Yeah, subscribe for more deck profiles, deck fights, unboxing videos, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.